first, I just want to say like hi and welcome. And I want to
Thank
talk
you.
a little bit about like your plant-based journey and
Mm-hmm.
what
Yep.
inspired you to eat more plants.
Yep.
What was your
Okay.
motivation for
Well,
changing?
um, my motivation, honestly, for changing was the death of my brother a couple of years ago. So, you know, my brother and I have always had shitty genes passed on from our parents, high cholesterol, high triglycerides, just really, both my parents were diabetic. They weren't, obese, but, I just had really crappy genes. And, I was never really very heavy, but just, the first time I had my cholesterol checked, it was like 320. And I wasn't even eating, a lot of the things that you would think would cause it.
Mm.
So it's just kind of genetic. Um, I had gestational diabetes when I was pregnant, on a special diet. And, so I kind of know it's sort of lurking in the background there, whenever it decides to catch up with me. So in 2017, I had thyroid cancer, and the ENT who did my surgery is vegan, and kind of would pass some little tidbits of information on to me. Didn't cram it down my throat or anything, but I would complain that I'm on a statin, and I wish my numbers would be better, and gave me information to read. Here, read this on plant-based, and was always kind of promoting it. And I read a little bit, but it didn't really make me kind of take enough initiative to change anything. And then in July of 19, my brother had a heart attack, had a rush to the hospital. They put a stent in, said he would recover. And a week and a half later, my sister-in-law came back from work and he was laying on the ground dead. So I don't know if it was a blood clot or whatever, but he also was not overweight. And we have the exact same genes. So when that happened, I thought to myself, I don't want that to happen to me when I'm 72. I want to be here. And so what can I do? I'm already on a statin. I'm on prescription fish oil. I need to feel like I'm in some kind of control over, I'm not in 100% control because my genes are my genes, but, what can I do? So then I started, really considering what the doctor had said to me about plant-based eating and eliminating meat and dairy. And I started just looking on the internet. And I don't even know how I stumbled on your website, but I did. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to make a change. So that summer, I sort of, not that over the Christmas break, I decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to change my way of eating and see if that makes a difference. My birthday was in February. It was literally a month before lockdown. And I said on my birthday, we went out to dinner with another couple, and I ordered a vegan type food. I said, "That's it. I'm doing it." And that was the pledge I made for myself for my birthday. And then my daughter, who lives with us, she's 20. She'll be 24. She never. She hated dairy. She was not really a big fan of meat to start with. She would eat chicken because I made it for her, but she didn't really love it. So when I told her, she said, "I'm in. Let's do it together." So
So cool.
she and I have, we joined your community and never looked back. And I mean, I feel a million times better. I lost 16 pounds. I've never been in the best shape that I am right now. I still have some numbers to work through with cholesterol and everything, but they're way better than they were. And I feel like I have a little control. So that's my story.
Yeah. Well, I love hearing your story. That's a beautiful story. And I'm very sorry about your brother.
Oh,
And I
thanks.
think Yeah, it's interesting because I talk to a lot of people about this and I'm always curious sort of what inspired this change. And I
Right.
mean, I would say the majority of people I talk to, it's because of either health of a loved one, or
Hmm.
like a
Right.
some kind of bad news from the doctor about their own health, right? And so
Hmm.
it's like that's
Right.
that's such a
Right.
common thread that I hear. And I think like just like you,
Yeah.
I think that people can hear about this and even sort of like on some level know that, oh yeah, that's available to me and that
Right.
might be a good idea. But it's like unless that clicks, and it sounded like for you, like around your birthday,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
like I I may as well try this. Like, what do you have to lose, right?
Right. Right. Right.
So when you decided to make that switch and you started eating vegan, like was
Mhm.
there anything that was particularly challenging for you, or did that transition go pretty smoothly?
Well, it went pretty smoothly. And to be honest, I think the whole environment of the pandemic sort of
Yeah.
helped me in a way because we weren't going out to restaurants. We
Yeah.
weren't going out. So I was sort of forced to be able to cook in my house and, prepare food the way I wanted to prepare it. So it definitely afforded me the opportunity to be able to explore eating this way a little bit easier than it would have if I were, going out to, with my friends for a meal or something like that. Um, I think the challenging things initially for me were learning how to cook without oil. And I never thought twice about that. And I thought, how can you saute without oil? It's impossible. And now
Yeah,
just
seems so
the
counterintuitive
thought
for
of
most people.
using Right, and the thought of using oil now, I can't imagine using it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just completely 100% off of that. Once in a while, if my husband likes pizza, he is not following well, he doesn't eat meat or anything, but he loves fruit, cheese, and dairy. So,
Mhm.
if I see a pizza, that looks good, but, I won't eat it. But, I'm fine with the replacements
Yeah.
for, the cheese. And I don't miss yogurt. I don't miss meat. I really don't. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm good with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's so
It's
many options. There's so much
yes.
food to choose from your recipe vault. You
Yeah.
don't need to sacrifice anything, you
Yeah,
know.
right. Isn't that amazing? And I think that so many people feel like this might be limited because you're,
Right.
eliminating, not even eliminating, just choosing not to eat meat, choosing not to
Right.
eat dairy. Right, whatever.
Substituting
It's
different
like
things. Yeah.
because it's like so funny when I talk to people. It's like, well, what do you eat? And I'm thinking, I
Yeah.
I've never been bored ever. Like there's
No.
so many things to
Right.
eat that it's nuts.
Right.
And I think that it sounds like you were really in that mindset of like, I'm doing this. And I think that makes
Yeah.
it so much easier because you already have that
Yes.
belief of like, this is what's happening, this is what's doing. So
Yeah,
your
right,
brain is looking for reason, or your brain is looking for ways to make it work instead of ways to
right,
like, you know, not make it work. Like your brain,
right,
when we can get our
exactly.
brain on
Yeah,
board, it's like you just go. You just go.
it's true. It's true. If there's a will, there's a way. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
mhm,
so true. Like I live like my life by that,
yeah,
and it's yeah, so incredible.
yeah,
So when you
yeah.
first sort of made this switch, what were some of the things that you kind of noticed that shifted with like your body or your energy or just in your life? Like, did you notice things that were kind of changing as you were doing this?
Well, definitely. But I mean, I should say that I also paired this new way of eating with a deeper commitment to exercise.
Nice.
I really, really feel that it's a joint effort, and the one should be with the other. And I think the combination of the two has definitely put me in an overall way better state of health in my mind and my body, and
Mhm.
just kind of really focusing on my health. And if I'm not taking care of my health, no one is I won't be there for anyone else,
Mhm.
and no one will do it instead of me for me. I don't know. I have plenty of energy. I'm eating things that I really never ate before. I use spices that I had never even heard of, let
So
alone
much fun.
tried. It's expanded. Yeah, my whole just vocabulary of food. Just even looking at recipes, saying, "What the heck is aquafaba?" And then
Mhm.
googling it, and looking it up and seeing it's like a whole new world.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it exposed, and I love your recipes because you give us like a view into different cultures and
Mhm.
different recipes from those cultures that I probably would never have explored.
Mm.
So I really
Yeah.
love that component to it, which is
Yeah.
nice.
I'll say that I love that component too, because I do follow the meal plans every week. And
Hmm.
there'll be times that
Yeah.
I'm making stuff and I'm like, I would have never made this. And like, what a
Right.
joy to make this food, because I would have never thought to even
Right.
Google that to find that
Yes.
recipe. Like, right. So
Exactly.
that's
Right.
true. And I think like going back and
Yeah.
kind of touching on the like exercise component with this way of eating and having that be so powerful, I think you're totally right.
Hmm.
And I also think that the two of those things makes the other one easier. Like when you're really exercising, like you
I
want to
agree.
eat really healthy, right? And when you eat really healthy, like
Right.
you are motivated to move your body.
Yes.
And so I can't think of a
It's so
better like
true.
marriage than those two things, because they
I
totally
agree.
support one
Right.
another. And it's like, and I think that you get
Yes.
more benefits from exercise when you're
Mhm.
eating really healthy, and you're getting more benefits from eating really healthy
Yes.
when you're exercising. So it's like this beautiful
For
win-win.
sure.
And sometimes, when
Really
people
is.
do like just one or just the other, and I've heard it a lot, it's like there's just some component missing, right? And then you bring the other
Missing.
one in and
Yeah.
it's like, oh,
Yeah.
it clicks. And then all of a sudden the body is like, here we go. So I think that's a really beautiful
It's
point that you
true.
brought
It's
up.
true. And
Yeah.
I feel so much better. I just like my insides feel good. I mean, I just don't walk around ever feeling like bloated
Yeah.
or just full or just not good. I just feel good. And it's
I
kind of even hard
yeah.
to put that into words. It's
Yeah.
just I just really feel good. And the physical feeling of that kind of extends to your emotional feeling, your
Yeah.
mental, attitude towards things.
Yeah,
So
it's so true. And I think
it's
that it's like, it is kind of hard to describe and put into words. And it's one of those things that when you experience it, then you're like, oh, that's the feeling. Because saying
yes,
you feel good,
yes,
like it doesn't even come close to describing it, but it's like, that's what it is. Like you
right,
just feel,
right,
like for me, anyways, like I just
yeah,
feel good. Like I don't
yeah,
feel tired. I don't feel too hungry. I don't
right,
feel too full. Like the
right,
digestion thing, the bloating, like it's just this feeling of like, it's almost like, I don't know, I've kind of described it in the way that like, okay, if you take everything away that was like once hurting and annoying and bothering you, you just take that away, like what you're left with is just like how your body is supposed to run. And
right.
it just works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It really, and you don't have to feel guilty about
Mm,
what you're eating. You just know that you're putting things in your body that are good for it and fueling it. So,
yeah.
there's no after sitting on the couch and eating, a bowl of ice cream. You're like, oh, why did I do that shit? Because, you're enjoying it while you're eating it. But then after you're like, oh, but you don't have to feel that way, which
Yeah.
is nice.
I don't know about you, but when you
Yeah.
were going through this transition and then sort of once you've been doing it for a while, has your sort of definition or your thoughts about like what's a treat and what's like, oh, I'm going to, kind of have this for pleasure? Because I know like, there's certainly
Yeah.
things that I used to feel is like, okay, this is a treat. I'm just going to do this and it's going to be really good. Maybe it's like ice cream or a candy bar or whatever. And I don't know about you, but
Right.
now it's like when I have and this sounds like so like if when somebody hasn't gone through this process, it probably sounds like so like, oh, well, that's great for you. But if I eat like a really
You're right.
delicious, juicy orange, or like a really crisp, ripe apple, or like a really sweet, like
Yes.
pineapple,
Yes.
it's like, it's better than any treat like
Right.
that I've ever had.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, definitely I've heard people say this, and I really think it's true. I think you really start to taste things,
Yes.
for
Yes.
what they really are better. They're not masked by all the other ingredients, and you just really get to enjoy, the fruit for what it is, and just kind of be satiated with that.
Totally. Yeah, you do
Yeah,
taste, isn't it?
definitely.
Even if you're eating like celery, you can taste the saltiness. Like
Hmm.
you can taste the sweetness of lettuce when
Hmm.
you like bite into it.
Yeah.
It's like it
Yes.
really is like all of
Yeah.
a sudden your taste buds become alive and they're like, "Oh, this is what food
Right.
tastes like." It's such a wild thing.
Exactly.
And I think
Exactly.
that that's
Yeah.
part
Yeah.
of like feeling good because you're in tune with your body, right?
Yes.
It's like this
And
true.
it's like my attitude when I see, people eating, or pictures of big, donuts and all the pastries and all the stuff, like, to
Yeah.
me, like, that sort of grosses me out now. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of view it as like poison almost.
Yeah.
And I still want treats. I still want desserts. Um but I want the healthier ones. Like,
Yeah.
the idea of, sitting down and eating a donut or a big bowl of, regular ice cream, like, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
just
and is it
my whole
almost
mindset has changed.
like you don't want it anymore, right?
Right. It's not that I'm just telling myself, no, you can't have it. It's like, I
Right.
don't really want it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's like such a
Yeah.
huge
Which
thing, and
is
I think that
nice.
that is
Yeah.
like the whole reason why, like you just hit it, why this way of eating is like not a diet actually at all, and how this is like the complete
No.
opposite of a diet.
Right.
Because once you don't want that stuff, it becomes very easy not to eat it because you literally aren't thinking about it. You're not
Right.
wanting it. You're not like,
Right.
wanting
Right.
what you can't have. It's not seductive anymore. It's like once you
Because then
once you
you're
reach.
thinking about it all the time if you can have it.
Right. And it's like so different, when you're on a
You
diet
know.
and you're being
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
restrictive, it's like that's what the mind like obsesses almost. But when you reach that point, and you totally can by eating this way, when you reach that point of just not wanting it, oh,
Hmm.
it's like so easy just to keep doing this.
Right.
Yeah.
It's liberating, actually, almost, kind of like a game, like a challenge to, like, if you're going out, now that we're starting to go out a little bit more in public,
Yeah.
okay, well, what can I eat at this restaurant that they'll make me,
Yeah.
maybe I'll have to sacrifice something that's sauteed in oil or something, of
Yep.
veggies or whatever, but, you know, I'll do that, but if I have to, but it's kind of a little challenge. Okay, well, what can I get that I can figure out that will make me happy and fuel my body, and not make me regret eating it.
Yeah, I love that. I
So
think that's so smart though. And I think that that's actually going to help a lot of people because when you view it as like, oh, well, like when you come from it, like when you come at it, like let's say going out to eat or going like, yeah, I guess now that we're starting to become vaccinated, I get my second
yeah,
shot next week, super excited about it.
sure,
But like, or actually this week,
yeah,
but like when we're starting to kind of like see some friends and slowly like kind of emerge from our caves that we've been in for the past, year plus.
yes,
Um,
yes, yeah,
Coming at this from a place of like curiosity, I think is really, really empowering. Like, okay, let me see what I
yeah,
can do. What can I piece together? Instead of
right,
thinking of like,
right,
okay, I'm going out to eat and I can't eat anything and this is going to be horrible. Like that mindset shift is, and again, it goes back to like once you kind of have it in your brain, like believing that, hey, this is happening. We're
right,
looking for, evidence to make this work. We're looking for reasons why this happens.
right.
We're
Ways to
looking for
make it
ways to
work.
make it
Yeah,
happen.
yeah,
And so I think that that's a
yeah.
really, really beautiful little nugget for people. When you're going out to eat, think of it as like a little game. Think of it as a little challenge. Like, what can you
Hmm.
do? And make it kind of fun.
Hmm.
And I'm the
Yeah,
same. Like, if I go out to
yeah,
eat and there's, obvious, it's very hard to not eat oil when you're going out to eat. Because even within healthy
yeah.
restaurants, that's like, you don't really get
Right.
that. So
They
I
just
always like make
right,
concessions. I'm like, okay, let's see how many veggies I can get
right.
get them to saute from a menu. And if it's in oil, then it's
Yeah,
okay. But
exactly.
you're right, that curiosity and that
Right.
game. I love it.
I always also will pack snacks and things like that to have in my pocketbook, and just in case, I've got some reserves, so I'm not going to be dying of hunger
Yeah. I do the same
somehow.
thing. And I also bring some salad dressing with me if I'm going out to eat
Hmm.
because
I
I
do too.
you know,
I do too.
and like our salad dressing is the best. And you can just
Mhm.
like put a little container, put it in your
It
purse,
is.
order like a big salad and just make
Yep.
your own dressing. It's so much better
I
than any dressing you'll get at a
I do the
restaurant.
exact same thing.
Yeah. See these little
Yes.
tricks.
Yeah.
It's like this makes it work.
Yeah.
So what I was going to ask is
Yeah.
like, can you see yourself going back to how you ate before this transition?
Never. Never. No way.
Yeah.
I feel
Right.
too good. It's
Yeah.
not worth it. It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
Nope. You know what? I have my kids are, 28, almost 26, almost 24. And, none of them are married yet. I don't have grandchildren yet. I want to be here when that happens.
Yeah.
I want to be here. And that's really the motivation.
Hmm.
It's not, the weight loss that I experienced was nice, but that wasn't the motivation behind it.
Yeah.
So, it
Yeah.
was just kind of a byproduct.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that why is really important. And I really encourage whoever's
Hmm.
stumbling upon this video and watching this, like come up with your why. Figure out that why because that will really
Yeah.
help guide you. And I mean your why, that's a beautiful why for you. And it's such
Yeah.
it's such a nice thing to be able to like kind of touch, kind of like bump up against when you might be
Mhm.
feeling like, okay, well, that ice cream
Yeah.
looks really good and I'm just going to eat it. Now, sometimes you might just eat the ice cream and then, well, fuck it, right? But having that why is really motivating and it really
Mhm.
helps, kind of
Yeah.
keep
I
the
think I don't
tension.
know if you could really do it if you don't have the why. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think in order to be kind of really committed, I think you need to have a why.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. I think you're right. Totally.
Yeah.
So, what else was I going to ask? I had thought of something. Oh, I know. So, your husband, you said that he doesn't eat meat so much, but he's like, was
He
he
doesn't eat meat at
supportive?
all.
Okay, he doesn't eat meat at all. And
Oh
did
yeah.
he eat meat?
No.
Did he transition with you, or was he not eating meat when you did this?
No, this is actually kind of funny. So probably about maybe 30 years ago, he was at a business lunch with one of a co-op that was working with him, who over lunch said to him, "I don't eat anything with a face."
Mm.
And literally, that's all she said to him. And from that moment on, he came home and said, "I'm never going to eat anything with a face." Like the visual of that to him,
Mm.
and I thought, I was making, meatloaf and chicken parm and all kinds of stuff. I wasn't in that place,
Yeah.
but he came home and he said, I'm done. And I thought, okay, it'll last, a month or so, but never touched it again.
Wow.
And, up until my brother passed away, we were eating turkey and, ground beef and chicken and everything, the rest of my family.
Yeah.
And my two sons still do, but my daughter and I decided to jump on the bandwagon of the no faces. But the difference between him and us is he doesn't really eat vegetables or beans
Okay.
or anything like that. He's like a big carb guy, so
Yeah.
pasta,
Hmm.
and he does love cheese. So he does eat dairy,
Hmm.
even though considering well his rationale is that yes it came from something with the face, but they didn't have to kill the animal to get the dairy. So
Hmm.
I guess
Hmm.
whatever. That's the way
That's his
he
path. That's
he
good.
rationalizes
Yep.
that.
Yep.
That's his exactly. I'm not
Yep.
here to change anybody
Yeah.
in my family, but my daughter was like she was probably about 75% there before I even made that announcement. And so she was, thrilled to jump in it with me. And it's been nice for both of us because,
Yeah.
she's learned to cook, while we're home. And, I take care of dinner and she makes us lunch for the weekend. So she's in charge of lunch. She's a teacher and working, teaching full time, but, a lot of the time was from home over Zoom. So,
Mhm.
and I'm
Mhm.
also a teacher. So we, been working hard, but, I'll usually make a meal, um, and I'll make 6 portions of it.
Mhm.
So, it lasts us for 3 days. So then
Okay.
I don't have to cook for 3 days.
Nice.
And that's kind of how we do it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't really have a lot of time because all my lessons with my kids are usually in the late afternoon, like through dinner.
Mhm.
So it just works for us right now to be able to make something and have leftovers for a few days.
Hmm.
And then I don't have to cook as often. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
That's the same thing I do. And it's like, makes it so much easier just to know that you have that, like that just reassurance of, I know I have yummy food in my fridge when I get hungry. It's like something you don't have to
Right,
think about. It's just this little, and I don't know
right.
that, people even realize how much stress and like mind space it takes up to constantly think about what's for dinner. Like it seems like such a little thing that we've all just
Yes,
gotten used to doing.
yes.
But when you remove that stress, all of a
Right,
sudden it's like, whoa, that's another, like this feels better. Like you have more mental
right,
space for other
right.
shit, right? So yeah,
Absolutely. And there's
yeah.
enough of it. So, like I have not tried batch cooking yet. So I have
Mm.
not done it. And it's on my bucket list.
Oh, this is
But I'm
good.
kind of
Okay, do tell
slowly
me.
getting to,
Okay. So
yeah.
I'm really glad that you
So,
hit on this. So you signed up for the meal plans,
yeah.
and our meal plans are based on batch cooking, and you haven't batch cooked yet. So tell me what you do, because
No, I have
batch
not.
cooking isn't completely necessary to utilize our meal plans and our
Right.
recipe vault. So
That's
tell us about
that's
that.
what I wanted to say, because I mean I've completely up to this point made it work without even implementing batch cooking. So
Mm.
it just kind of can give other people some options, like to realize that you can still do this and use the recipes and not commit to having to batch cook.
Yeah.
Um, so like I said, I run a religious school, so I have school every Sunday, and I'm committed. So by the time I'm done lessons, it's the afternoon, and I don't have like a full weekend day to sit and do hours, which would take me hours, I'm sure,
Mm.
to batch cook. So this is, will my daughter and I will look at the website, we'll find a couple recipes that we're really excited about, and then like I said, I will make a recipe and make 6 portions of it, and then we have it for 3 days. And so I can pick a few recipes a week and really, and I do the gourmet ones. I don't do the simple ones, but I just kind of was used to doing it that way, and I
Yeah.
like all the flavors and the spices. So,
Hmm.
I go full out, but then we just have the leftovers, and so I haven't had to really batch cook, but I am looking forward to trying that this summer. I
Yeah.
definitely want to try it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, there's no like
yeah,
wrong or right way to do it, I mean, and you have like in our
right,
classroom, you just put the portions and it makes it so easy because it figures out everything for you. And that was
right,
always my big thing with
right.
cookbooks, right? It's like, okay, well, this recipe looks good, but how do I
Yeah.
scale it? And then you're like just figuring out how
Right.
to like make
Right.
more, make less. And so I think that's a
Yes.
really like that is a very valuable tool when you're doing this. So that's cool. And that's, like you're making it work without batch cooking. You can make it work without batch cooking, but I'm excited
Right.
for you to try
Right.
batch cooking because I want to hear what you think about it when you
Yeah.
finally do
Yeah.
it.
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
No,
like,
I'm excited to do it. Yeah.
and how fun that you get to do this with your daughter and that she's into it and it's sort of this thing you've been
Yeah.
doing together. I love that. Like what a wonderful thing to come
Yeah.
together and do.
I put a picture on the Facebook page today. Yesterday, she made me the um, the joyful almond cake with the
Mhm.
chocolate ganache. She made me that for Mother's Day, and she wrote out
Nice.
"Mom" in almonds on the top, which was so cute.
Oh, I'll
It was
have to go
really
look
nice
at that.
surprise.
How sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
awesome. Well, I just
Yeah,
love your
yeah.
story and I love talking to you and thank you so much for being in our community and
Thank
for
you.
being part of this. And the last thing I was going
Oh,
to say
thank
is like
you.
what a wonderful thing that you like gave yourself last year in a year that was so scary and chaotic
Mm,
and uncertain. I love that you were like,
yeah,
well, I'm going to get in my kitchen and learn how to cook and eat really healthy. Like what a fantastic
yeah,
use of a time that that what a wonderful way to spend that time. um and granted it
yeah,
was easier because you couldn't go out to eat, and so I think a lot of people were like, okay, I guess I'm going to learn to cook, which is like everybody should know how to cook. Like eating out is great once in a while,
right,
but like cooking for yourself the majority of the
right.
time is so empowering and such an important skill to have. So kudos to you for making the
Yeah,
switch and for doing
thank
this. And
you.
thank you for being in our
Thank
community and for
you.
sharing
Thank
your
you.
story with me. I
Yeah,
really like talking
thank
to
you.
you.
Yeah. thank you for everything that you offer. I just love the whole community. I love the support and the encouragement and the non-judgmental attitude. And I love your honesty and how you put things out there, which we can all identify with, but a lot of times people don't want to really talk about certain things, and you just put it out there, and I love that.
Oh,
So,
well,
thank
thank
you.
you. Yes. Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah.
I love what I do. And hey, we're all some messy, weird humans. So,
Yes, for sure.
I love that. So thank you so much, Joni. And say hi to your
Thank
daughter for
you.
me.
I sure will.
Okay.
Thanks again. It was great speaking to you. All right.
Yeah, I feel
Bye.
the same. Bye.